right, so I'm going to introduce Amy Walker. And so I could talk for probably 15 minutes about Amy's influence in my life. I'm definitely a testimonial on her webpage. I feel proud about that. I've worked with her 3 separate times, and each of those times she has been part of a quantum shift. So I just explained to the viewers what a quantum shift takes, and it takes that creativity. And so the creativity is like where you go vertical. The creativity is where something like there's a before and after, like there's a day in your life where it was like you can say everything changed. And that's what Amy's about. Like she's going to present something today that could change your life, right? Because that's how she operates. I'm having fun with her fabulous bio though, so I get to read that to you. Okay. So Amy Walker is an executive business coach, a professional speaker, author, and CEO of Amy Walker Consulting. She is gifted with understanding people and how to get them to shift, increase productivity, and utilize their talents to complete company objectives. The skill set shows up in her leadership strategies, sales scripts, and marketing campaigns. Her clients rave about her ability to get to the heart of any business challenge and then build the system to support sustainable change. Guys, this is literally what we talked about. This is the magic combination of things that changes your life. Amy has coached thousands of small to mid-sized business owners and specializes in helping them make the jump from a 6-figure business to a 7-figure organization. She has over 18 years of experience in sales, marketing, and leadership. Amy has been featured on Fast Company, U.S. News and World Report, CEO World Magazine, DIY Marketers, and numerous radio, print, and television features. Amy has a BA in linguistics, is a certified personal mentor, and a certified body language expert. She's trained for companies like Lifetime Products, Parker Hannifin, State Farm Insurance, Utah State Bar Association, Department of Corrections, Department of Transportation, Department of Education, 3 Key Elements, doTERRA, Mary Kay, Scentsy, and more. Amy and her husband, Steven, do more than run the company together. They're also raising 5 sons. Amy spends most of her time at band concerts, cross-country meets, or other kid activities. She lives in a teeny town in Northeast Georgia. She has 3 dogs and a cat. She loves reading, writing, painting, music, Jesus, and Thai food.
I do love Thai
All
food
right.
and Jesus. Love them both.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. I am so excited to be here and to get to share with everybody. I would ask, I have lived in the South long enough that I have a really hard time speaking to a void. And so I would love for this to be like a conversation. If you guys are good with that, just type in good so that we can get the conversation going. We can get the chat started, wake everybody up. So just type in good. Carrie, so good to see you. I saw your name on there and I was like, Dr. Carrie's in the house. That's always a good day. Okay, good stuff. All right. So the funny thing is, that bio that Christine was reading, it almost feels like a different version of myself. Do you guys ever feel that way when like, because I remember the season when that bio was created and I remember where I was at in life and business. And then I look at where I'm at right now and I'm like, whoa, that's like Amy version 2.0. And now we're on like Amy version 6.0. So, and I love that you guys are all in that space of like up leveling your frequency. And so I want to really, my intention today, what I want to bring to the table is I want to have you guys have that experience that Christine was talking about, where your entire vision for what is possible opens up dramatically and your time frame in which you need to accomplish it shrinks dramatically. Would you guys be excited about that? If what you could see was possible was like way bigger than what you thought, and the amount of time it's going to take you to get there was significantly shorter. Anyone else want that? Christine was excited. Carrie was excited. Nobody else is excited. Come on, y'all. Like, yes, this is what we want. See, I told you, I've gotten spoiled. When you live in the South, like you say stuff and it's like, yes, yes, ma'am, amen. Yes. And so when I'm speaking on webinars and I can't see people or hear people, I'm like, I don't know. Is anyone there? Am I making any sense? I require feedback these days. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to screen share here, and we're going to cover some really awesome stuff. And let me pull up my slides. Okay, so our conversation here is around business acquisition and how that is the blueprint. It's your shortcut to financial freedom. So I really truly don't care where you're at today with your financials and how close you are to being wealthy. I don't care how far you are from being wealthy. What I really want you guys to do is embrace the idea that there are many shortcuts, and I'm going to show you my favorite one. But if you can embrace that idea that the world is actually full of shortcuts to wealth, then we are going to be having a great conversation. If you believe that wealth needs to be hard, slow, drudgery, then guess what? You're right. It's going to be absolutely true for you. Like 100% true. And I have signed up for that payment plan many years of my life. And now I'm just in a different season, and I want success to be easy. I want it to be smooth. I want it to be fast. I don't want to paint a picture that I'm not working hard. I'm working incredibly hard, but it's all taking me so much farther than anything that I've done in the past. So if that sounds like you're in the right place, just type in number one. We'll jump into it. Let me introduce myself to you. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 22 years old. I have been a business growth consultant for over 12 years. I've got a background in sales, marketing, and team building. I'm a certified exit planning advisor. And I went from owning, and this is all within the last 18 months, owning one company that was doing 200,000 in annual profits. That was my take home, annual profits, to now I own 7 companies that are doing over 15 million in sales, and I have about 200,000 in monthly profits. And that's been under 2 years. How many of you would be excited to experience that type of growth? If you would, just type in me. Okay, yes. Lisa, Ellen, Kimberly, I love it. This is the part that I think is so much fun is I ask this question now, and then I show you guys what I did, and people are like, whoa, that seems scary. That seems outside the box. And what I want to tell you guys is that if you want something different than what you've got right now, you have to do something different than what you've always done in order to get there. And we've all heard that before, right? But we hear it and we think that sounds nice, but then we stop short of jumping in and doing. And so that's what I'm going to encourage you guys to do is whether you pick the same path that I picked or whether you pick a different path, I want you guys to step on the fast train because I think that we need more good people with more wealth in this world. So my goal, my whole entire purpose behind this is I want to sell you guys on a better vision for your future than you've ever had for yourself. Let that sink in for just a minute. A better vision for your future than you've ever had for yourself. Some of you right now today are like, vision for my future. I'm trying to make it through this week, right? True stories. Those are facts right there. Some of you are like, I think I like my vision for my future. It might be small, but it's cozy and I'm comfortable with it. Some of you might be like, I am so desperate for somebody to show me something that could really give me the hope and the belief that this can change. And that's great too. It really, truly doesn't matter where you're starting with today. What matters is the transition that we go through. And I am inviting you guys all to step into that space of like, let's have a mindset shift. If you've ever stretched a rubber band, once you stretch it, it cannot go back. Let's stretch our mental rubber bands, and then let's never go back to small thinking and small possibilities. You guys good with that? If you're good with that, just type in I'm good. Who is good? Let's stretch it. Okay. So here's the question. This is the million bazillion dollar question, which is, why should you be wealthy? And I want you to like in the chat, I want you to sell me on why you should be wealthy. It could be because of the contribution that you're going to make when you're wealthy. It could be because of the mission that you have. It could be because you just have drive for days. Like you're wired to, go out there and create. It could be because it would be fun and you would have a great time. It could be because you have big desires in your heart. So why should you be wealthy? Sell me on it. Pretend that I am the universe and that based on what you tell me right now, I'm going to say, yes, I believe it. You should be wealthy, or no, you shouldn't. Okay. All right. So I can keep writing. It's my time to change, fun times, and I am worth being wealthy. All right. Let's get some more answers. I also, Christine mentioned I have 5 kids. I know how to wait. I know how to give the mom look like, come on, guys. Okay. So I can fund very worthy projects, people, and passions. I want to unite families in love and joy. Okay, let's get a few more. I want to hear from each of you. I can be trusted with money to fulfill the mission and vision of uniting women in business globally. Okay, I want to be able to give to others. All right. I want to help people find better health and happiness so I can enjoy my time with my kids and my family. I hope to make a difference. Okay, guys, did Christine warn you that sometimes I'm just like super bold in what I say? Because we're coming up with one of those. I'm going to tell you guys, a lot of you, the reason why you're not wealthy is because to accomplish what you just wrote, you don't have to be wealthy, right? To take others where you're going, Chelsea, you could invite me to Walmart today and we would go to the place where you're going. Right? Like I can change people's view of themselves and help them move forward through trauma and triggers. You can do that without money. You can do that and be super poor. The more wealth I get, the more I can support my family, help others, and have time to spend on my own passions. You could do all of that and not have money, right? You can support your family emotionally. You can help other people by doing service. You can spend time on your passions because you choose to. And what I want you guys to understand is that if you want to attract big, you have to have big purpose. Big money requires big purpose. And I see people do this on the regular. And I've done this before too. I remember a season in my business where I was pretty stuck. Like we just couldn't seem to get past it was the $500,000 mark. I couldn't break $500,000 and my life depended on it. And I one day in frustration was like, okay, why does this even matter to me? And I was like, you know what? I want more money because I want to spend more time. I want to renovate my property. Well, why do I want to renovate my property? Because I want to spend more time with my family. Okay, well, I could spend more time with my family right now. And so we actually went and set up camp chairs and we hauled bricks down and we made our own little brick thing. And we had great times hanging out on the back of our property on Sundays. It didn't require money to do what I wanted to do. You guys with me on this? Big money requires big purpose. And if you're looking at it and you're like, okay, I see it. I see the gap. My purpose is not quite yet big enough to attract big money, then that becomes assignment number 1. Increase the size of your purpose. Increase the size of your purpose. My purpose right now is that I want to purchase $100 million worth of businesses with operators who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to own a company. That's my purpose. It's big. It makes me, when I say it, it gives me that like, ooh, feeling, you know, the one where you're like, I simultaneously want to shout for joy, wet my pants, and throw up a little bit in my mouth, right? It's that feeling. If you don't have big response to it, then I would suggest that you continue to stretch the passion, continue to stretch the purpose. Now, I can even go deeper than that. Why do I want to buy $100 million worth of businesses with operators that have never been millionaires in their lives? Because I believe that our world needs more self-sufficient people. And I believe that we need an equal distribution of opportunity and wealth. And I'm a woman, and I was born in 1980. And it wasn't until 1986 that women were even allowed to get bank loans. Couldn't even get a business loan in my lifetime. Guys, that's crazy. So I want opportunities for people. I want good people with the right resources to get them in the doors and make decisions. And the people who are making the big decisions that affect our lives, oftentimes they're people with money. So that's my big reason why. Do I love what I do? Yeah. Is that a purpose that's going to get me out of bed in the morning when I'm like, I feel bloated today and tired? Yeah, I'll work for that because I'm excited about it and I care about it and it matters to me. So I'm going to give you guys another shot here to go big. So sell me. Why should, like, I am the one who is going to be distributing wealth, and I'm deciding who gets it. Sell me on why you should have big wealth, big money, big vision. You guys are all feeling the pressure now. Like, got to get it right. And I'll say this, in order to get it right, all you have to do is be bigger than it was before. It just has to be growing because purpose matters. Okay. I don't want to compete for life. I want to live it right for me, and that is writing. Okay, so I am going to give a couple of you guys ideas on how to reframe these, but I love that they're coming in. I want to take ladies on serious adventures that they wouldn't try on their own. Okay, I am creating a Zion Atlantis homestead self-sufficient off-grid community, financial freedom, travel, and free family from poverty to help everyone I know. Okay, I need the money because what I want to do cannot be done without money, needs, supplies, materials, etc. Okay, they're all bigger. So you guys, good job. Those are all bigger than the first round. Continue to hone your purpose. Continue to hone your purpose and make sure that you have a purpose that requires you to be outside of your comfort zone and into the growth zone, because that is where you truly make a difference. That is where, I mean, that's where life begins to shift for you and all those around you. Okay, so at the Exit School, what we do is we help people make their next exit. So where are you at in your journey? There's 4 main exits that we talk about all the time in the entrepreneurial space. The first one is you're exiting from corporate America. Like, you're done with the job, you're done with the 9 to 5, you're done with having, everybody tell you what to do and how much you can make and all of that. So you exit from corporate America. Anyone who's done that knows that the first thing you enter into is being the chief everything officer. And so you start your business and now you're doing everything all the time and it's all on your shoulders. So that's the second exit we make. Then the next exit that we make is from being the CEO to, which is the chief everything officer, to being the shareholder business owner, which means that that business can run largely without your time, energy, and effort. And then the final exit that you make is you exit through the sale of your company. So I would love to hear from all of you in here, just what's your next exit to make? If you're currently an employee and you would love to be a business owner, then you write in 1. If you're like, I am currently a business owner, but I do everything pretty much all by myself, you're a 2. You're exiting number 2. If you're like, I am a chief everything officer and I want to be, the business, I want to be the shareholder. So just go ahead and write through. And if you're like, I want to sell my company, write in a number 4 and then text me afterwards. We'll chat. Okay, so mostly 1s and 2s, it looks like. That's great. All right. So I want to show you guys, and this is a tool that I am going to encourage you guys all to download right now. And then I need to minimize this and I need to go over here. So I want to help you guys understand some things about income gaps. We're going to talk about a wealth gap, an income gap, and we're going to talk about a value gap. And I want to sell you guys just a little bit here on, I didn't give you long enough to download this. Everybody take a picture really quick if you want this tool. Download it really quick because it will actually give you this spreadsheet that I'm using so you can run your own numbers. So as an employee, there's like one way that you earn money. What is it as an employee? What's the one way you earn money? You guys know. There's enough 1s and 2s in there. You get a paycheck, right? You get a paycheck. Maybe it's hourly, maybe it's salary, but you get a paycheck. That's how you earn money. As a business owner, you have multiple ways that you can earn money, and we don't want to leave any of that money on the table. And so I want to share some stats with you, and you guys can run these numbers on your own. So the first number that I look at when I'm helping people plan on where they want to go, I look at their what they want to make when they retire. And I don't think you need to work until you're 75 in order to retire. I want to know what this number is. So let's say that you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, my target yearly income is I want to make $300,000 a year in retirement. Great. Then you look at your total current assets, and maybe this is like real estate, maybe it's investments, maybe you have stocks, portfolios, maybe this is worth this is worth $1 million. Well, what this number is going to tell you is that your retirement asset goal, and it will figure out the formulas for you. For this scenario, you need $7.5 million in order to retire and live off of 4% of your assets. So you would need 7.5 million in order to retire at 300,000. So your wealth gap in this scenario is $6.5 million. Okay, so first of all, how many of you would be happy to have 300,000 in retirement? Raise your hand or just type in a yes. And maybe you're like, I don't need that much. Fine. Totally fine. You can make it down. You can do 200,000. Okay. But even at 200,000, our wealth gap here is still $4 million. And so, okay, Lisa wants more. Okay, so let's say 500,000. You can just play with the numbers. So now we have a wealth gap of $11.5 million. Okay. I want to show you how to get this in the fastest way humanly possible. Because the other option is that you try to get there doing what you're currently doing. And if any of you have currently run your wealth gap, you're going to look at that number and be like, that feels like a kick to the gut. I will never get there. Did anyone have that experience? The way that we get there faster, and this is why I'm so passionate about acquisition, is that we can buy this with 1 or 2 business transactions. So I'm going to move this number back down to 300,000 for ease. So I mentioned that a year and a half ago, I had one business that was doing 200,000 I'm going to run my numbers, what they were. Okay. So I was actually probably doing more like $220,000 was how much I was doing. And we were doing about 600,000 in sales. Okay. So very profitable. We were at like 36% profits, which is great. That's actually as high as it should be. I've seen people get as high as 50% profits in a business like this, but that's not really normal. Okay. So as of a year ago, this is what my numbers looked like. I had 300,000 and I probably only had about 600,000 in assets. Okay. So my wealth gap a year and a half ago was $6.9 million for me to retire. And my business was already as profitable as it possibly could be, because I would have had a hard time with marketing costs getting up to 50% profit margin. And my business was currently worth, because it was a coaching business, like 1 to 2.5x multiple. So had I sold my business, I could have done maximum 750,000. That's not going to fill up my $6.9 million gap, right? So I was not on track. Would you guys agree with that? Year and a half ago, Amy Walker, not on track for her retirement goals. I feel like that was pretty apparent. So I was not on track. So now if I look at my numbers today, we're doing about $15 million in sales, and our profit margins are more like 30%. So now, and the businesses, I bought businesses that had better multiples. So now these are probably more like a 2 to 4x is what I could sell them for. Did you guys see what just happened there? I mean, like, that's a mic drop moment, you guys. That is a mic drop moment. Now, I want to explain these numbers so that you know what you're looking at. This right here is showing me if my business is profitable. And let's say that we were doing, let's say we weren't doing that in profits. Let's say we were doing half of it. And I'm just going to put in $2 million. Okay, is what we're doing in profits. So now I'm only at 13%. And then I can look at it and say, okay, well, if I'm at 13% right now, I'm making $2 million a year. But if I can get these businesses to 30%, then I can be making 4.5. So this is the income I'm leaving on the table every year. Okay. Then I'm looking at this bottom line right here, which is my multiples of 2 to 4x multiple. And now if I were to sell all of these companies, I could sell them for somewhere between $4 million to $18 million. And I didn't put any personal out-of-pocket money into buying these businesses. And Ellen is saying that much is not realistic for this business. That is exactly where my business was a year and a half ago. It was not realistic that my business could have ever done this as it was. And so what I did was I realized I was on the slow train and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get off the slow train and I'm going to get onto a faster train. And this, again, this is where we're trying to expand the rubber band. We're trying to expand what we see as possible. Do you guys have any questions on this? Does this make sense to you? At least like on a high level plane, does this make sense? If you guys do have questions, okay, we're going to go into the how. So it's growth through acquisition. That is what we're doing, growth through acquisition. Okay, so let's talk about what it looks like and what the real opportunity is for buying businesses, because that is what I have been up to for the last year and a half. So what's going on right now is the baby boomers own a lot of businesses. Have you guys ever heard the term silver tsunami? The baby boomers own a lot of businesses. 10,000 baby boomers retire every day, and 8 to 12% of them are business owners. That means 800 to 1,200 businesses need to change hands every day. There are not 800 to 1,200 people out buying businesses every day. These businesses are boring businesses. But they've been through a lot of different market cycles. They aren't really run very efficiently. Like we just helped one of our clients buy a flooring company in St. George, and their sales process was that they would go out to their house and they would sketch on a notebook and measure, and then they would come back to their office, and then they would build out a bid manually, and then they would email the bid, and then that person would have to decide to say yes and then come into the store with a check. Okay. Has anyone ever experienced a better way to purchase flooring than that, right? And yet they're still doing, 1.2 million a year in flooring sales because it's a boring business, but it's got solid cash flow. It was built off of the idea of treat your customers well, take good care of your team members, do business with integrity, and work hard. And that's what a lot of these baby boomer businesses are. So these businesses are not attractive to private equity companies because they're too small for them. And private equity, they're raising a lot of money to help these businesses transition, but they're not interested in businesses that are small. They're interested in businesses that are bigger. And so we're coming in and we're finding all these businesses that are small businesses, meaning they're doing like 1 to 5 million a year in sales, and they're earning somewhere between 250 to, I don't know, $1 million in profits and per year. And we're buying those businesses. That's how we're getting there as fast as we're getting there. Okay, so the silver tsunami, let's just talk about this a little bit. I'll give you some stats. These are baby boomer owned businesses. They own $10 trillion worth of businesses that are going to need to transition hands in the next 10 years. And 60% of these businesses don't have a succession plan. Only 20% of the businesses listed every year end up selling. And so you have 600,000 sellable businesses that are just closing their doors and not finding buyers. And that's every year. So we are looking at how can we take advantage of this. So I talked about baby boomer run businesses. Let me just tell you a few stats that will like blow your mind, but also you'll be like, yeah, that tracks because, my parents wouldn't have that either. They don't use technology to run their business, 46%. 75% don't prioritize training. 36% don't even have a website. 44% don't use email marketing. 65% aren't creating any kind of content on social media. 80% are not using video marketing. 75% don't have an SEO strategy. 58% of their websites are not mobilized. And yet all of these things we know, because it's been studied and proven, make a huge difference. 400% average ROI from investments in tech upgrades. 24% higher employee turnover when you don't prioritize training. A website, 39% higher revenue if you have a website. So we're trying to find these businesses that they have good bones, but they're in need of a refresh, not an overhaul. Like this is not a fixer-upper. I always tell people the real estate equivalent is you're trying to find a really good house that is completely livable, but if you were to repaint it, that you could sell it for significantly more. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for one that we have to gut it or build it from scratch. And we're not doing startup. We're just simply going and finding really great businesses, and then we're going out and buying them. I'm going to skip this slide for time's sake. Okay, so our solution is that we're helping current business owners grow through acquisition, and we're helping entrepreneurs people who have full-time jobs that have been always wanting to start a business. Instead of doing startup, we're helping them to purchase. And here's an example of a deal that we did this last year. Okay, and I even have a better update on this. I forgot to update this slide. Before this acquisition was done, and this is an acquisition that I partnered on with one of our clients. So the revenue for these 4 Crumbl cookie locations, and I know this group is going to be like, Crumbl cookie, they have way too much sugar. None of us actually like eating them, but we do really like making money from them. And that's okay if that's like outside of your, like if that doesn't feel good to you, you buy something different. Okay, so pre-acquisition, they were doing 3.3 million in sales. Their profit was $360,000, and we bought them for 1.3 million. That's what we bought it for. 6 months later, their revenue was at 5.2 million, their profit was at 1.2 million, and their value was at 3.7 million. We've now owned this for 9 months, and we have gotten 2 offers for $6 million on this business. We're currently deciding if we're selling or keeping. That's fast, right? Like that's crazy fast right there. So one acquisition could really change everything. And all we had to fix with this was 2 things. Number 1, we had to fix food costs. They were spending too much on food. And the way that we fixed that was instead of having every individual store order all their own supplies, we had one person order supplies who their job was to make sure that no supplies were wasted. Number 2 was that who works at Crumbl? You guys have been to them. Who's working there? Are these high-powered executives? No, they're teenagers. And teenagers sometimes like to stand around and chat with their friends. And so we implemented better scheduling so we weren't overstaffed in the stores. So those were our 2 fixes. We had to fix food costs, and we had to fix like man hours and not having too many teenagers just hanging out at work. If they're not busy, somebody gets sent home, right? So that was our strategy, and it's been wildly successful. So I want to go through and ask you guys, what questions would you have if you were going to decide, like, should I buy a business? What questions would you need to know? Type them into the chat. I'll make sure that I answer them. And I am going to kind of talk you through this process of what it looks like to buy a business. Because in 6 to 18 months, you could acquire your dream salary. You could acquire your dream business. And I want to show you what that would look like. Where would the money come from? Okay, I am going to share that with you. That's a great question. That's probably the most common question. Cost of operating. Yes, let's definitely talk about that too. That's important. Any other questions you guys have? What's happening with the market? Everybody in January went crazy and tried to list their business for like 6x multiple. That's what's happening in the market. We're looking at right now, almost all the deals we're finding, we're looking at off-market deals because the publicly listed ones, something happened in January and every broker was like, I'm feeling very ambitious. Let me try to ask twice as much for this company as I would have asked 2 months ago. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Ellen, I would be happy to chat with you about exit strategy and how you can like what can you do with your business now in order to get it ready to sell so you can have that second wind of income. Okay, what's the ROI? Great. These are all really good questions. Okay, so the very first thing that we have to do is we have to find good deals. And I know that sounds like, of course, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of deals listed out there that I'm like, that's a terrible deal. I would never buy that. So we have to actually find good deals. Sorry, I'm getting over, I had bronchitis last week. So my throat's a little froggy. I'm going to put in a cough drop. Okay. We source deals by looking at off-market deals. We look at on-market deals. We're just constantly looking for deals. Then we have to get good at valuing the businesses and seeing what they're actually worth. Then we get really good at negotiating. And then as soon as we know that this deal makes basic sense, we are very fast to put in a letter of intent. This is an offer. Until you go under due diligence, I always tell people it's like you're looking at a dating profile of this business. It is the best case scenario, right? It is the most enticing they can make it look. And it's not until you get into due diligence that you actually know enough about that business to know if it's right for you to buy or not. Then we work on financing and figuring out how we're going to buy this business. Then we submit the purchase agreement and then we close. This whole process usually takes somewhere between 6 to 18 months. So that's the process. That's how it works. And I hear a lot that people are like, well, why would anyone sell a good business? Lots of reasons. They're tired and want to retire. They have multiple good businesses and one of them's better. And so they know they don't have the time to dedicate to this one. They're burnt out. They're needing to move to take care of aging parents, or they had a health challenge. Somebody died. There are many reasons why good businesses end up for sale. And so we can definitely talk that through. Okay. You know what? I kind of just want to answer questions because I know I'm running short on time. I'm just going to answer all your questions and we'll forget about my slides. And then I'll come back to them at the very end. Okay, let's go through your questions. Where do you come up with the money to buy the business? We are getting our deals done through 3 main ways. One is seller financing, which means that the seller decides to be the bank. So you buy the business from them. They carry a percentage of the loan. You pay them payments every year. Every month. It allows them to be able to not have the tax hit all at once. And it allows them to continue earning from the business. And the profits of the business are what pay them. That's something really important to understand. The business buys itself. If the business cannot afford to pay your salary, it cannot afford to pay the debt service, and it doesn't have extra money left over for growth funds, we do not buy that business. It's a hard no. So the other way that we're financing is through the SBA loans. You put down a 10% down payment. And then the other way that we're financing is through private investors. Every deal that we've gotten done in the last year has been a mixture of those. So like the flooring deal in St. George, bought it for $900,000. 80% of it was seller financed. $110,000 was fundraised through private investors. We've got a business that we're working on getting financing for this week, and it's likely going to be it's likely going to be SBA and then some private investor money. That's what it's looking most likely to happen. And so we're creative at figuring out how can we fund these deals. But you don't actually have to have a lot of costs up front. None of our operators this year that have bought businesses had personal money that they put in. So what's happening in the market right now is, honestly, it's just like this temporary inflation where I'm already seeing the prices start to come down. Like today is the first day I saw a good deal on a publicly listed site in a while. And I was like, ooh, that's a great deal. But in general, the market is strong. You're trying to buy in markets that aren't volatile as well. And then what's the ROI? So this is the crazy thing. If you put $0 in of your personal money and you then bought a business that is worth like $3 million, I don't even know how to tell you what your ROI is. That math is crazy. Like, it's good though. I can tell you it's good. What do I need besides money to successfully acquire a business, improve it, and then sell it? So you will need to have a really good process to get you through due diligence, because you don't want to buy a bad business. And that's I think what everyone's biggest fear is. What if I buy a business and then it's not good and I lose money? First of all, if you didn't put money in, you don't lose money, but somebody does, and we want to avoid that. So you have to have a really good due diligence process to make sure that you're actually buying a good deal. The second thing is you have to have a really good business growth plan. What you need to analyze that business enough that you understand what are the 1 or 2 things that need to be done in order to improve it. And then you have to roll out that business plan. Okay, I know I'm so close to out of time. I hope what you guys are taking away from this I hope what you guys are taking away from this is possibility, and that there are multiple tracks to create wealth. And some of you might be on a track that is slow and hard. I am inviting you to step off of that track and figure out what is your version of the track that moves faster and is more simple. I don't necessarily like to say this is easy, because I wouldn't say that buying 8 companies in a year is easy. Like, I would not clarify that as easy. But what I would tell you is I have more support and help than I've ever had in my career. I have more amazing team members than I've ever had. I have better systems in my businesses than I've ever had. These businesses, like, I can actually get sick and take days off and they still run. I can go on vacation and they still run. And I've always struggled with that because my business was so heavily dependent on my time, energy, and effort. And so my invitation for you guys, and I know Christine is so generous, she asked every single one of her people to offer you guys something for free. And so what I'm going to actually offer for free is a strategy call for you guys. And what you can do on that call is we'll go through your numbers of, like, what is your ideal amount of money that you would like to be making for your salary? What is your ideal amount of money you want to be making during retirement? What are you currently doing? And we're happy to go through and show you what it could look like for you to acquire a business, show you what your funding options are, show you what types of businesses you could buy, and just really open up the possibility and see if it is a fit for you. Do you want to know how to make someone running an event have a mini heart attack? Christine texted me. She's like, hey, this is what time I'm planning on having you on today. And I was like, we don't have an appointment today. She's like, yeah, we do. I'm like, oh, speaking. Yes, yes. I thought she was talking about, like, because she is so talented and amazing. Like, she has been rocking my world. I thought she was saying I had an appointment with her. I was like, that's not on the calendar today. So sometimes I can be a little spacey. Do you have any questions, any thoughts as we wrap up here, Christine?
It is so valuable to have this information and the exit school. So I went to, was it like the first Acquire Exit School just over a year? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was our very first one.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to remember times and different things, but so we just a few months before that, Todd and I had bought a business, and I look back at that and I'm like, oh, if only I'd had Amy's training before. And so we learned a lot. It was a very expensive lesson. And now, okay, y'all have heard of, like, what would Jesus do? And Amy mentioned that's, important to her, but I do, what would Amy do? Honestly. And I love this. One of the things I love about working with Amy is I swear she has a whole team of angels that also work with her. And those who are intuitive will have them actually prompt you, I swear, with the what would Amy do? Like, maybe look this way, or slow down, or speed up, or, and it's so interesting when you start thinking differently around success and simplicity. And that is definitely, like, Amy keeps things pretty simple, but really does move quickly. So it's awesome to watch.
I'm glad it looks that way on the outside. Sometimes
It looks like
inside my brain is pure chaos. But I'm glad that the output is, like, it's simple.
So one of our sessions, I am going to teach you more about meditation.
I know. I've been practicing and I've been working, like, Christine, I'm not even joking when I tell you Christine is rocking my world right now. Like, it has been a massive up level in the last year. And as I've been through that, I have found that I just needed more personal support, like, I needed someone to help me with my mental and emotional and physical health and well-being, and quieting my mind, because my mind is like 8 businesses all the time, thinking of all the things. So I just want to give you a shout out to Christine and say what an amazing job you're doing and the work that you do in the world and all the people that you serve. And so I'm grateful to be able to be a part of this, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.